Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our 11th episode of the You Go First podcast. I don't want to be here right now, but Austin, why don't I want to be here?
Because you don't like the Exorcist movie. For some reason, you think that it actually holds supernatural prowess, and it does not, because it's a movie that's a little over half a century old.
Well, anyways, as an old man once told me in a deli, don't invite evil into your home. And that's exactly what we're doing today for some reason.
So before we get more into it, for the audio-only listeners, me and Fernando are actually in the same room right now.
Unfortunately.
For the first time in a very long time. So I apologize in advance if the audio quality is a little different than normal, but we're going to try to keep it as good as possible. So there's your little disclaimer. First of all, you've never seen the Exorcist movie before, right?
Nope.
Never
will.
I didn't until yesterday because I decided it'd be good research to watch this before we start. I can see why it was such a both a big hit and a controversial film, because this movie came out in 1973. I want to say the scariest movies at that time were like the Alfred Hitchcock movies.
Oh, those things were so they're not even scary, dude. A fucking bird killing you. Who cares, dude?
Yeah, the birds.
A seagull? I can take on 10 seagulls. Maybe 9.
I mean, they can be pretty vicious, but
I know, but I think I can get 9 of them.
Psycho. I think Psycho was maybe the
Psycho was kind of creepy.
It was the scariest movie, I think, at that moment. So, all of a sudden this movie came out.
I definitely think this country was a bit more religious back in the 70s.
Yes.
Too. Because if you look at the numbers, religion is on the steady decline. But I think 50 years ago, people were still pretty, I don't want to say indoctrinated, but people were going to church more often, right? So I think this definitely I used to go to church. I don't anymore. I still sometimes believe there's a God. I don't know. I want to believe there's a God, but the Christian trauma in me refuses to watch this video because, like I said, as this one guy, I forgot how it happened, but in a deli when I used to work, my coworker who was really into the occult and spookiness, shout out Jamie wherever you are. Was talking to a customer about The Exorcist. I think she was like, "Oh, I'm going to go home and watch that with my girlfriend or something." And the guy's like, "Oh no, I would never watch that. I love scary movies, but don't invite evil into your home." And I was like, "Amen, brother. Amen."
So interestingly, the Exorcist movie actually kind of ties a little bit in with our very first podcast episode, the Satanic Panic.
No.
This was actually one of the movies
what happened in that.
What in the Satanic Panic?
Yeah.
Well, with this kind of started to plant the seed in American society of watching horror, demons being involved in mainstream media.
Okay.
And then
I don't remember that podcast. Are you sure we fought? Are you sure we did that one?
The Satanic Panic?
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
I don't believe it.
Anyways, so yeah, this movie had a little bit to do with getting that panic started. But anyways, I watched The Exorcist. It was
0 out of 10. What do you give it?
Okay, first of all, I'm not a big movie person.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. For reference, he really isn't, because he's he owns every Fast and Furious movie on DVD. He no joke thinks Fast 10 is cinema. And listen, if you're
peak entertainment.
Yeah. It is drivel. It is dog drool. It is literally low hanging fruit. It's they kill characters and bring them back with no rhyme or reason. There's no logic to it. It's garbage. Dude.
There's logic.
They sent a car to space. Don't even get me started on
family. Family is the logic. It's these. If you got family, you can do anything. So enough about this. Is not a cinema podcast.
Anyway, 0 out of 10. Rate the movie.
7.
Okay.
But
was it the scariest horror movie you ever seen?
No.
What's the scariest horror movie you ever seen?
I don't know, actually. But it was good, though. It was good. But so apparently the movie The Exorcist has a curse attached to it. I don't know if you knew that or not, but multiple people who were involved in the production have had, just overall bits of misfortune, all the way down to people actually being dying from, supposedly natural and sometimes supernatural causes. So yeah, we're going to discuss some of the stuff that goes along with that curse, and maybe by the end,
can we stop talking about curses on the podcast though? Because like after we had talked about Robert the doll, I did not want to talk. Like I got paranoid a little bit.
I love curses though; they're so fun.
They're not.
All right. Well, we'll talk about that in post in the next topics. So if you don't know what the Exorcist movie is about, here's a little synopsis. So based on the best-selling novel by William Peter Blatty, The Exorcist follows a young girl named Reagan, who's portrayed by Linda Blair, who begins to act odd, levitating, speaking in tongues. Her worried mother, Ellen Burstyn, seeks medical help only to hit a dead end. A local priest, portrayed by Jason Miller, however, thinks the girl may be seized by the devil. The priest makes a request to perform an exorcism, and the church sends in an expert, Max von Sydow, to help with the difficult job.
Oh, I remember Max von Sydow. He played the three-eyed raven in Game of Thrones.
Ah, okay, really? Okay.
But you never seen Game of Thrones, right?
I have not, but I actually do know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
All right. So.
Yeah, no, that's kind of that's definitely creepy, honestly. And I think I'm done with the podcast. I think that's about it.
And that's the episode, guys.
We're
going to wrap up.
All right, it's over. Hey, see you next time for episode 12.
You get to start, actually, so let's hop on into this.
Oh, goodness. I don't want to be here right now. But anyway, since I'm contractually obligated and I'm withheld by... Austin withholds food from me if I don't read my lines. I guess I have to. Austin's mom, he smoked a cigar one time. Okay, anyways, let's get into this. The blank is often referred... No. Don't make me say it, dude. I don't want to say it. The
Exorcist.
The racist is often...
Just say it, my God. Be an adult.
I can't,
you
dude.
Stand up.
I have... Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it. The Exorcist is often regarded as one of the most controversial films ever produced. And when you take a closer look at it, it's quite easy to see why. For starters, it's got the fucking devil in it. This movie that depicts the demonic possession of a little girl came out in theaters across the country in 1973. At this point in time, nothing prior to its release had even come remotely close to possessing this high of a shock value. I hate you.
Oh, there's so many puns.
Oh, here we go with the puns. As a result of this, many moviegoers and critics alike rate The Exorcist as the scariest movie of all time. I rate it the scariest movie of all time, and I've never seen it.
It's not that scary.
Maybe you weren't raised in a church household, that's why. In addition to the plot, the tactics that this movie's director, William Friedkin, used during production also raised quite a few eyebrows. Wait.
Just the pause.
Things like verbal abuse, psychological abuse, and even endangerment of a child were all utilized to achieve Friedkin's vision. Sounds like some people that produce the You Go First podcast and what they do to me.
Will you shut up? You want your food or not?
Some of the individuals who starred in this production still have the scars, both mental and physical, to prove it. But of all the controversies that surround The Exorcist, however, it would probably have to be the curse that has become affiliated with the film that takes home the Golden Globe with this film, which this film received 4 of. Both during and after production, a series of grave misfortunes seemed to haunt the lives of the people who were affiliated with the project. Some instances were viewed as simple misfortune, while others were downright tragedies. As a result of the disastrous events that enveloped the film, many believed that the bad guy himself,
the devil,
had taken out a personal vendetta on anyone who had a hand in making the film. And you know what? That's enough for me. Good podcast, everybody. We'll see you next time. I'm done reading.
Okay. So, yes, there's been a lot of... would you get your fingers out of your ears?
I'm not listening to this podcast.
Quit being a child.
I'm not doing this.
We're doing this.
You stop bullying me.
So, yeah, there's a lot of stuff associated with this movie that is not so great. Production was insane. The director was a bit crazy, as I'm about to talk about. And then after that, we'll get into the curse. So, before we talk about the supposed curse, it would probably be beneficial to understand what the overall vibes were around the movie's production.
The vibes were off.
Yeah, the vibes were bad.
The vibes are bad now.
No, they're great.
No, they're off.
I'm overtired, but they're good.
Tired.
As mentioned earlier, the film's director, William Friedkin, was often criticized over his eccentric approach to directing. Ultimately, his irrationality and temper would earn him the moniker Wacky Willie.
I have a Wacky Willie.
While on set, Friedkin would often become agitated over the smallest of transgressions and would incessantly yell at and belittle his actors. It does sound a lot like the You Go First podcast.
Who do I have to contact? Who's our rep for fucking HR here?
We don't have HR. I'm HR.
We need HR.
I am.
We need a union.
Okay, it's just gonna be you.
You know what? I'm starting to. Piper will join me.
Oh, maybe. Bigger treats, maybe.
We need more treats.
Occasionally, he would even fire and rehire personnel within the same conversation. So basically, he'd be like...
That's like what you do to me when I get my lines wrong.
Well, yeah, I mean...
Lines? Am I
hey,
right?
This guy produced an award-winning movie, so maybe he's on something. I'm going to take on his directing habits, style, whatever.
I'm going to put my 2 weeks notice in.
That's nice you didn't give me 2 weeks.
2 hours. I'll give you 2 hours.
Obsessed with authenticity, Friedkin would only accept the best from his staff. He was so dedicated to this belief that he would hide guns on set to fire at random moments during filming.
Okay, yeah, this guy's a nut job.
According to him, this action was used to facilitate a more genuine feeling of shock within the actors during filming. So, yeah, if you weren't like on edge enough during the movie, he'd just randomly grab a gun and fire into the sky to like scare you, and then you'd be all nerved up and stuff.
Yeah, because I could die from a gunshot.
Yeah, exactly. So this guy, yeah, well, you'll see. There's a lot more.
Jeez.
This guy's an interesting man. Another
Sounds
example.
Like a Gemini.
We're great. Another example of this ferocity was displayed when he physically slapped an actual priest named William O'Malley, who was playing Father Dyer, across the face. Apparently, the priest wasn't...
Oh, you hired a real priest to play the priest?
Oh, yeah. So a lot of the people actually in this film weren't well known because he wanted people to look at these actors and actresses as those characters. So, you know, like, for example, like you have Daniel Radcliffe, you look at him, you're like, that's Harry Potter. He didn't want that to exist in this movie. He wanted everyone to be the character that they were watching. So a lot of these people were rookies, which is pretty cool. So apparently the priest wasn't giving enough emotion during the last rite scene of the film. This is actually kind of a sad scene.
Why?
Because the
Spoilers, it's been 50 years.
It's been 51 years, yeah. The guy's friend, you know, who is the priest, is dead.
Why?
Well, we'll get to that. Actually, I can tell you, this isn't a podcast about movies podcast. So the priest, after he gets... he basically takes the demon from the child to save her.
Spoilers.
And then he dives out the window and kills himself to kill the demon.
Spoilers.
Well, there you go. You're never gonna
Does
watch
that work?
I don't think so. Wouldn't it just come out and
That's
go
what
after
I'm
someone
saying.
else?
Like,
I mean, he got it out of the child, I guess. So apparently the priest...
During the last rites.
Apparently the priest wasn't giving enough emotion during the last rite scene of the film, and this upset Friedkin. Immediately after the strike, they began reshooting the scene. And during the final cut, you can see the actor involuntarily shaking his hands in response to the incident. So he was all nerved up, and he's like doing this like the whole time.
Yeah,
the poor guy is all scared.
It's an old man. He just got assaulted.
Yeah, he's a holy man too. I'm sure he's not used to being assaulted. Furthermore, Ellen Burstyn, who played the mother of Reagan, was also subjected to Friedkin's wrath. During the scene where Reagan is possessed and attacking her mother, wires were used to pull Burstyn down to the ground. After the first take, she complained that the stuntmen were too rough when pulling the wires. Friedkin then proceeded to tell them to do it harder the next time. As a result, her screams of pain in the final cut are 100% authentic.
Did this guy go on to direct any more movies?
I'm pretty sure he became a serial killer. I'm joking.
Oh, I was like,
but okay. This guy's pretty crazy. His style is insane. You're actually going to read even more of what he did to the... Yeah.
Anyways, let's get back more into this psychopath. Unfortunately, his abuse didn't stop with the adult actors, as actress Linda Blair, who played Reagan, was struck with even worse treatment. For starters, when she couldn't reach emotional depth, as expected of a child, the director would simply remind her of her grandfather who recently passed away. To be fair, however, remembering something sad is a normal tactic used by actors, but I don't know if it's used by children.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like in bad taste. Her grandfather, yeah, she was pretty close to him.
Additionally, she had a major allergic reaction to the yellow contacts that she used during the possessed scenes. To remedy this, they simply gave her eye drops that numbed her eyes for hours. Sounds medically wrong. She was also subjected to freezing cold temperatures during all these scenes, as Friedkin wanted the room to be below freezing for, you guessed it, authenticity. Finally, Blair also had to contend with an injury that occurred during the bed thrashing scene. During this part, Regan experiences violent convulsions while lying in her bed, and to recreate this effect, the stage crew utilized a device that would move her up and down at a rapid pace. Unfortunately, one of the safety belts being used to keep her back straight snapped, and as a result, she suffered a serious injury to her back. And to this day, she still has back pain from it. Oof, hope it was a great payday, because otherwise, she was maimed.
Yeah, her career was actually launched because of this movie, and she became a staple in the horror community. Pretty crazy.
So yeah, this guy is
he's insane.
He's a nut job.
He's absolutely fucking crazy.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Rest in peace, William Friedkin. Sorry for bashing you in the grave.
He's dead. Oops.
Yeah, but it was cool you were a Virgo, I guess.
Okay, so you were in agreement that this man is a psychopath?
His methods were questionable, yes.
Okay. Yeah. So just kind of remember all this. These are the vibes that all the actors and the crew and
the vibes were down bad.
Yeah, everybody's stressed, everybody's nervous, and no one's really in a super good mood at all times during this. So just keep that in the back of your mind, because now we're actually going to get started on the spooky stuff.
Wait, what? That wasn't the spooky stuff?
No. That was not the spooky stuff.
Can I
No, you're stuck.
Can you do the rest of this by yourself?
Nope, you're stuck here. I'm sorry. Sit down. Shut up.
Austin's mom. I'm leaving that in there, dude.
Alrighty. So this is what kicked everything off, and it is a little eerie. As I say in the first sentence. Shortly after filming began, an eerie event occurred that would set the tone for the entire project. While walking down the street one day, actor Jason Miller, who played Father Karras, was stopped by an actual priest who wished to bestow some wisdom upon him. To precursor this, most people in the area didn't know who Miller was, as he and many of the other actors weren't even remotely famous, nor did they know the movie was even being produced. After stopping Miller, the old clergyman handed him a silver medallion. Not wanting to appear rude, Miller took the talisman and simply believed that that it was just a kind gesture. I'm sorry, I'm laughing because Fernando's got his fingers in his ears right now. Then the ecclesiastical man asked, "Have you ever heard the concept of intervention?"
What's ecclesiastical? I know that's a Bible book.
It's just religious. Ecclesiastical man would be a religious man.
Why not use pious?
I guess I'll use it next time.
Yeah. Why don't you learn your synonyms?
Shut up. I use so many synonyms for priest in this. Then the ecclesiastical man asked, "Have you ever heard the concept of intervention?" Taken aback a bit by the question, Miller simply said no. Emphatically, the cleric proceeded to explain, "It's an agnostic concept that came out of the 15th century. If you do anything on the devil, anything at all on the devil to reveal him as the trickster he is, he will try to stop what you're trying to do to unmask him. This medal will protect you. So you be very careful. You take care of yourself." With that, the gentleman walked off.
Wait, we don't have any medals.
We don't have any medals.
What that guy got.
We don't know.
But we're doing exactly what he did.
It's kind of funny because this guy actually kind of sounds like the guy at the deli for you, because this guy is basically saying, if you're...
Yeah, no, why are we doing this?
Well, I'm sorry. We're here. Let
me see your phone.
Why?
Just give me your phone.
What are you gonna do?
Just give me your phone and open it. Unlock it.
What are you gonna type?
Just unlock it.
What?
Just
please don't. I don't want to buy a cross from Amazon.
I'm not buying it, dude. We're just continue.
Okay. Fernando's got a cross on my phone right now. Despite being a little spooked by the whole encounter, Miller shook off the conversation and proceeded with his day. 3 days later, however, Miller was once again walking down the sidewalk when he noticed that an event was going on at one of the religious halls in the area. Wishing to pay his respects to the recently deceased, he popped into the hall and approached the casket. To his shock, laying in the coffin in front of him was the priest who had given him the medallion just a few days ago.
No!
I'm dead serious. This was actually pulled from an interview with the guy who played Father Karras. Yeah, this is right. That's who it was, Father Karras, I think. Yes. This is actually from an interview with him. This is his story.
Well, it was nice doing this for 16 episodes, but I think I'm out.
So the medal didn't help.
Had enough.
The medal didn't help.
I have had enough. I am going to walk away from this project. Thank you for teaching me how to edit. I appreciate the opportunity to work here, but I am gone.
Well, you got to read next.
I don't want to.
You have to read.
No, I don't want to. This fucking sucks, dude. Fucking hate it here. I don't want to work here anymore. If I get that job. According to many of the people who worked on the film, there were multiple deaths that could be tied both directly and indirectly to the development of the movie. For example, both Jack McGowan, who played Burke Dennings, and Vasiliki
Maliaros.
That one. Both Jack McGowan, who played Burke Dennings, and Vasiliki Maliaros, who played Father Karras' mother, passed away shortly after wrapping up filming of their respected parts. Eerily, both of their characters also died in the movie. Additionally, a set technician and night watchman also passed during filming. What are we at? 6 deaths?
We're at 4 right now, I think. Oh, well, if you count the priest, we're at 5.
By now, talks of a potential curse on set were beginning to swirl. The rumblings were afoot. Ultimately, unfortunately, the suspected lethality of this movie was not just limited to those who physically worked on the production floor. Many of the actors lost very close family members during this period. This included Max von Sydow's brother. Sydow played Father Lancaster Marin, the assistant cameraman's baby, and Linda Blair's aforementioned grandfather. Furthermore, one of the radiographers, named Paul Bateson, went on to become a convicted murderer, and many believe that he was actually a serial killer. So when do you become... At what point do you become do you go from murderer to serial killer? How many people do you have to kill? Mr. Criminal Minds over here.
So I'm going to go on a whim here. Actually, I don't know the official answer, but I would imagine...
I thought you were a doctor.
It'd be more than one. Basically, more than one, but you have the intention to keep going, and you're using the same MO. So you're...
What's an MO?
Modus operandi.
So what is that?
How you do it, like what you do. For example...
So you have to do it the same way every time? Usually,
yeah. It's how they track you, because that's...
Sounds like us. It might be a serial killer.
Please elaborate. How?
Because you know so much about them. To cap it all off, towards the end of filming, the production faced an extreme setback that came in the form of a massive fire. You know what else is... You know what place has a lot of fire, Austin?
Hell?
Interesting. In the aftermath of the incident, the McNeil household... Who's the McNeil household?
So Reagan and her mother... so it's Reagan McNeil.
Oh. Yeah. Oh, the McNeil household set makes sense. Was lost and had to be completely rebuilt from the fire. Oddly, the only part of the set that was completely untouched by the blaze was Regan's room. After a brief investigation, it was determined that the cause of the fire was due to a pigeon that had apparently flown into a circuit box. You know what? Let me get on my soapbox here for a second. we as humanity did pigeons dirty. We basically, what's that word called? Domesticated them. Got them to do our bidding for wars and like messages and like carrier and all this stuff. And then as soon as we invent the telephone and the internet, we're like, later. And have you ever seen a pigeon nest? They can't make one. They just throw a bunch of sticks on the ground and it's like the saddest thing ever. They depend on us for food. That's why they're always in cities, like begging for food and bread. It's like we as humans, we let these birds down. You know what? I don't care if we're not talking about the topic. You leave those pigeons alone, you know? Like you do not scare them. You just let them be. Let them be on their pigeon little way and maybe give them some bread because they deserve it.
Amen, brother.
Eventually, back to the movie, R.I.P. that pigeon. All of this became too much for the cast and crew to chalk up as mere coincidence, as they should. They then proceeded to ask if an exorcism could be conducted on the set itself. Smart. While this initial request was denied by the local clergy, dumb, the set was eventually blessed by holy water by a priest. Not bad. Still no exorcism, but you know, it's something.
How do you exercise a set? Like,
I'm sure there's a procedure.
I feel that's not a thing, and that's probably why they didn't do it.
Well, I think it is, because like, what do they do like when the house is possessed?
I don't think a house has ever been possessed in the history of possession.
Listen, my friend's mother, who I never knew to be a liar, but she once said that I think, because I remember my friend was afraid of the occult as well, because I guess his mom, when she was a kid, played with the Ouija board. And basically, I think one time she said she heard, oh my God, what the fuck is that?
It's a fly.
Fuck. Well, anyways.
It's a sign.
Don't.
It's pestilence.
Don't. But anyways, I guess, according to her story, maybe she's just telling a ghost story to scare some kids, but her mother, I think, tried to get an exorcist to come to their house, or maybe it was a priest or something, because she heard like heavy footsteps with chains going up the stairs. And it's like, I don't know about that. So I think they got like holy water and threw it on the stairs or something.
See, that sounds like a house being haunted, though. I don't think the physical house was possessed, because a possession's on a person.
Are you a demonologist?
Yes. Anyone can be a demonologist. Are you a demonologist?
No, but I know you're not.
It takes one to know one. All right.
Back to the sickest podcast of all time.
We're almost there.
Yay.
Despite the growing superstition that Satan himself was hell-bent on stopping this production from being completed, the director and his crew did eventually complete the project in 1973. Now all that was left to do was to get this thing on the silver screen and start wowing audiences around the world. Surely this would be the easy part, right? I mean, they've gone through literal hell to get here, so the worst is over, right? Well, just like everything... Well, just like everything else that was involved with this movie, the theatrical release was not an easygoing experience, to say the least. People who clearly were not ready for the amazing visuals of the time were left both petrified and repulsed. People were reported to have been gagging, throwing up, and even running out of the theater because they couldn't handle what they were witnessing.
That almost happened to me when I watched The Evil Dead from last year. I almost threw up.
Really?
I was a little in a different state of mind, and there was a scene where like she's chewing on glass,
yes,
and starts regurgitating into like I think her sister's mouth,
yes,
and I think I just threw like huh.
There. I couldn't believe that. We're talking about the same one. I couldn't believe,
like 2023.
The kill count, like the amount of kids.
Oh, everyone.
The kids. Only 2 people lived.
Yeah, like out of like 8 people, only 2 survived.
Like I was surprised they killed the kids. I was like, holy shit, they went.
I mean, spoilers.
I mean,
I didn't say who they killed. You just said who they killed.
Sorry.
What's wrong with you? Spoiling movies. One of our viewers is probably going to watch that today, and now they won't.
Well, I'm sorry.
You're gonna have to put a big spoiler warning.
Spoilers. In one theater, a man supposedly fainted while watching the film. He later claimed that Warner Brothers had put subliminal messaging into the movie, which ultimately led him to having an episode. As a result, he did file a lawsuit against the studio, which was eventually settled out of court.
Yo, my man got a payday for
He
watching
did
the
get a
movie.
payday, yes.
Nice.
He won. Additionally, despite everything that Linda Blair had already went through, the torment still wasn't over. Some overzealous people who took the film too seriously and considered it to be a work of Satan sent death threats to the child actress because of her involvement. Thankfully, however, nothing more ever came of it.
Zoinks.
Yeah, Linda Blair, I mean, don't be wrong, she's living large now. She's doing pretty well, but
damn,
she went through a lot.
After Jesus' birthday, dude?
They did. Yes, they did. They actually wanted it to be before Christmas, and because of that fire, it got delayed. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so the day after Christmas.
Sounds interesting. Oh, okay. Let's put a wrap on this bad boy, right? A little gift wrap, a little bow on it. Never podcasting with you again. After the film was released in theaters on December 26, 1973, the film continued to be shown in theaters for a whopping 105 successive weeks. That's a long time.
It's 2 years and 1 week.
They literally left it in theaters that long?
Yep.
Why would we do that?
It was that popular.
With who?
I don't know. Everyone made people want to go re-see it. I don't know. Maybe they enjoyed it so much.
But we just talked about how no one wanted to see it.
Yeah, but any publicity is good publicity, and these people heard people were throwing up and they were curious and they wanted to see it. I mean, how many times have you heard people say, "Oh, it's this," and you're like, "Well, I'm going to go check it out because I want to see if they're lying."
0.
Okay, I'm that kind of person.
As a result of its incredible popularity, the movie became the highest grossing R-rated film of all time, a record that would hold for almost half a century. Until years later, the film would eventually be dethroned by the 1998 hit by M. Night Shyamalan, the supernatural horror film The Sixth Sense.
I see dead people.
Spoilers. To this day, however, Bruce Willis wasn't alive the whole time. To this day, however, The Exorcist still holds that second place spot. Overall, it does appear that, curse aside, the people who have survived the production have gone on to do quite well in life. For many, including Linda Blair, this was one of the movies that helped launch her career and make her a staple in the horror community. Even the real-life inspiration that the original novel was based on had relatively happy ending. Robert Hunkeler, who was supposedly the victim of a possession back in 1949, at the time he was only 14 years old, after a series of unexplainable phenomena occurred, this included lettering appearing on his body and vomiting, a foul-smelling liquid. His mother brought him to St. Louis, Missouri, where multiple priests conducted an exorcism on the young boy. Despite the ordeal, the child came out relatively unscathed and even grew up to be an engineer for NASA. Since its inception, the movie has spawned a few sequels and has even recently been rebooted in 2023. Was it 3 or 4? Okay. 3. The movie has spawned a few sequels and has even recently been rebooted in 2023. Allegedly, 2 more movies are in the works and are expected to arrive over the next few years. Unfortunately, however, the bar has been set so high that it is quite unlikely that the new franchise will ever hit the explosive popularity enjoyed by its predecessor. Hopefully, for the sake of everyone involved with this revival, however, the curse of its predecessor doesn't follow them into the 21st century. We're not posting that.
Oh, we're posting.
We're not posting.
So, shouts the devil.
No, that is not what we're doing. We are not doing that. We are very much not doing that. We are, in fact, just not even. We are just gonna not even pick side. We're just like not here. We're just reading. We're not doing nothing.
Okay. So that was The Exorcist, everybody, or should I say The Curse of the Exorcist. I personally think it was a lot of coincidence going on.
Really?
Yes. Because
really,
the two actors,
really,
the actor and the actress.
Explain all of it then.
I'm going to. For starters, the actor and the actress, Maliaros and McGowan, they were quite old.
How old?
Old enough.
How old?
McGowan died from complications from influenza.
Suspicious.
And Maliaros died from natural causes.
Really?
Yes.
Really? How coincidental.
The priest mentioned earlier was old.
So, everyone not dying just because they're old.
Well, everyone dies eventually.
That is true. But
ideally, it's when you're old.
With the same week?
It was over the course of like a year. He died 3 days after giving him the medal.
How suspicious is that, though?
I mean, it happens. And the set
like coming home from a bar in London or from a seminar in London to your apartment?
Yes, exactly. I mean, that's different.
But that's different.
The pigeon.
But that's different. The
pigeon that flew in.
I want to see the death certificate for the pigeon. I want to see proof that there was a pigeon.
So first of all, it is considered unexplained, but the pigeon theory...
Was there a real pigeon?
There was a pigeon that they found dead.
Says who?
The people at Warner Brothers who did the investigation of the set. Now, the thing about the set that we didn't mention was the set was up for a year. That is a long time for a set to be up. They usually aren't up that long. So something statistically was bound to happen. This was in the 70s.
I didn't hear no fires happening on James Cameron's Avatar set. That thing was up for like 20 years.
Well, I'm sure the same set wasn't up the whole time. A lot of it's CGI. The set is a green screen.
You're telling me there's no Pandora?
There's no Pandora. I'm sorry.
Spoilers.
Let's see what else was there. I'm trying to think. I don't know how the stage, the camera tech and the stagehand passed away, or it was bodyguard, night guard. I don't know how they passed away, but I bet you they were old. Okay, I really don't have a good explanation for them. But there's a lot of people involved in the production. People are going to pass away. It happens. It was also the 70s. Everyone smokes. I mean, if you watch the movie, every scene someone's smoking. They probably died of lung cancer because they kept being exposed to cigarettes. I don't know. Let's see. What are Sweetheart Disaster? Is that it? Did we cover them all?
I guess. I don't know. I'm speechless.
You're speechless?
I'm speechless.
Okay. I mean, this man maybe the two people were shot. The man held guns around everywhere. Maybe one went off. That's all I got. Sorry. You believe? I'm guessing?
I don't want to talk about it.
Okay, so Fernando gets a big check mark for believing. I don't believe it. Feel free to comment how you feel about everything. Are you a believer or not? There you go. So I'm going to wrap this up for Fernando's sake because he's exceedingly uncomfortable. So yes, thanks again, everybody, for checking in with us today. I really hope you enjoyed the episode. We got plenty more coming.
Christ be with you.
The next one probably won't be about a curse.
No more curses.
Oh, there'll be curses.
But, no more curses.
But
don't invite evil into your home.
Okay, well there you go. There's some advice to take home. If you enjoyed the episode today of The Exorcist Curse, please give us a like, a comment, a subscribe, a follow, anything depending on...
Please be nice to us, YouTube.
Yeah, be nice to us. We would very appreciate it. Tell your friends, please. That's the only way we're going to probably find other people is by you telling people that you actually somewhat enjoy this. So,
and if you don't enjoy it and you think we suck, let us know. Let us know how we can be better.
Yeah.
Don't just say we suck. Tell us how.
Yeah, appreciate it. We'll take constructive criticism.
I mean, it'll hurt our feelings. Don't get us wrong. Like we're like probably the most emotional people out there, but at least we'll have an idea of how to build off of it.
Fair. So if you want to see more of us, you can find us on YouTube in two places. Either here, if you're watching this right now on YouTube, which is at You Go First Pod, or if you want to watch us play some scary games, you can find us at You Go First Gaming. We got a lot of videos over there. We have a couple hundred subscribers, and we want to get more. So we would love it if you'd join us.
And if you want to see less of us, go ahead and block us. or just unsubscribe, unfollow, report. Really tell them to take us off the platform.
Oh, shit.
And those are your options.
Yeah, okay. All right. I'm good. Do you have any final thoughts?
Christ be with you.
All right, guys. Have a good night.
I haven't been to church in forever, but I feel like I gotta do some prayers tonight.
All right, guys. Have a good night. Everyone remember to stay spooky.
But not too spooky. Just enough. Just a little spooky.
The power of Christ compels you.
Yeah, just a little bit. Just a little spooky.
The power of Christ compels you.